Honorable Kibagendi, how did you find yourself in the house? You are a stranger, you must leave. Until after 14 days. They are not. Are they over? Then why did Gisairo raise the point of order? That's frivolous, to say the least. You are out of order. If 14 days are over, then he's legitimately in the house. Yeah? I'm told 14 days ended yesterday. Ole Sunguya, you have a petition. If you are ready, present it. Apologize for coming late and present your petition.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to take this opportunity first to apologize for being late. I am coming from my constituency, a place called Olepolos.
That is not a reason, but go ahead.
I'm sorry, Speaker. Thank you. I want to take this opportunity to table a petition regarding the human-wildlife conflict, intervention and measures in Kajiado County. The Honorable Speaker, the undersigned on behalf of the resident of Kajiado West constituency draw the attention of the House to the following. One, that human-wildlife has escalated into humanitarian, economic, and environmental concern in the country with disproportionate impact to the communities residing in Kajiado County, particularly in wards adjacent to the National Park, wildlife conservancies, and established wildlife corridors. That despite these communities being the traditional custodian of the wildlife by virtue of living alongside wildlife habitats and migration corridors, they continue to bear disproportionate costs arising from the human-wildlife conflict, including loss of human life and injuries, destruction of crops, livestock, and homestead, infrastructure, ecological trauma, loss of livelihood. The Honorable Speaker, that according to the annual report of the Wildlife Service for the year 2022, more than 2,000 human-wildlife conflict incidents are recorded annually affected counties, and that across the country, with the Kajiado County consistently ranking among the 3 most affected counties. And that between 2018 and 2022, at least 47 fatalities and more than 120 serious injuries were directly attributable to human-wildlife conflict incident within the county. That existing compensation mechanism for the victim of human-wildlife conflict remain ineffective, underfunded, arbitrary, and characterized by the prolonged delays, while the current compensation rate do not reflect true economic value of the losses suffered by affected communities. That inadequate in compensation framework had undermined the public support for the wildlife conservation and have in some instances led to retaliatory killing of the wildlife, thereby threatening conservation and the sustainability of the tourism sector. Mr. Speaker, that effect by affected resident and local leadership to have the concern addressed by the Kenya Wildlife Service have not yielded satisfactory result. That the matter raised in this petition are not pending before the law of the constitutional body as a legal institution. Therefore, your human petitioners pray that the National Assembly, through the Public Petition Committee, engage the Kenya Wildlife Service and other relevant state agencies with a view to urgently addressing the escalating cases of human-wildlife conflict in Kajiado County. Recommend for the formulation of the comprehensive policy to provide for the following: a clear and reasonable timeline to the processing and payment of compensation, a claim arising from the human-wildlife conflict, decentralization of the compensation assessment and approval processes to the county level in order to enhance efficiency and accessibility, and ring-fence the human-wildlife conflict compensation fund, provide for predictable annual allocation, fair and equitable resources sharing mechanism to benefit communities hosting wildlife resources. Community-based conservation model and partnership with the local communities and ensure a meaningful community local conservation model and partnership with the local communities and ensure a meaningful community representation in wildlife governance and decision-making structure, and last, establishment of independent oversight and public reporting mechanism on human-wildlife conflict claim, compensation processes and mitigation outcome. Make any other recommendation it may deem appropriate to address the plight of the petitioner. I beg.
Thank you, Sunguya. Haika.
Thank you very much, Speaker, and I want to appreciate Honorable Sunguya for this petition. Mr. Speaker, human-wildlife conflict has remained a menace in most of the regions that are closer to the national parks. Taita Taveta, we are closer to Tsavo East National Park and Tsavo West National Park. Mr. Speaker, we have a problem. The cases of fertility are many because many people are being killed by, most especially the elephants. Places like Jipe, places like Mwaktau, places like Sagala, Lower Sagala and Bololo. This compensation is a problem, Mr. Speaker, because as much as we are trying to, our people are trying to coexist with the animals and the parks, the challenge remains the compensation. Mr. Speaker, like right now, it's a rainy season. Most people are going to the farms. But majority of our people are no longer farming because every time they struggle and farm, they don't get to harvest because animals break through the farms and they're the ones harvesting. So, Mr. Speaker, I support this petition. It is a problem and it needs to be handled with care. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity.
Martin Owino.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That petition is timely and relevant, but I wonder how we will be implementing these policies. Mr. Speaker, my constituency borders Ruma National Park, and we may even attempt to describe or describe differently the human conflict with the wildlife, not only resulting to injuries It's also destruction of crops and escalation of hunger because of that. And that has gone on for a long time. Delay of compensation, which is not even commensurate with the damages, is also there. So my question, as we even take on this, is we have a lot of documentation in our books, in our shelves, but the implementation, Mr. Speaker, is lacking. What can we do to implement what we are passing in this House, even through regulations and policies we are talking about? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Russell.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I support this petition. For those of us who come from around wildlife sanctuaries, what Honorable colleague has raised is really fact, and the government is not able to do what even this House has passed as the law of the land, particularly in the area of compensation. It is not sustainable. And when you look at the growing population in Kenya, most of the wildlife sanctuaries have been inundated by settlement. The wildlife corridors have been closed off most of the time. So this petition must go far in trying to investigate on how we are going to have a lasting solution. Because so long as the wildlife areas have been constrained, then that conflict will be inevitable. It will always be there. So this petition is timely, and I think we really need to do something as a country. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Oundo, then you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me thank Honorable Sunkuya for this petition, because the issue of human-wildlife conflict always erupts any time and has been with us for many, many times and many occasions. Honorable Speaker, we are aware that many times it arises out of encroachment by humans towards wildlife sanctuaries. And secondly, the issue comes in because the government or the executive of this National Assembly does not appropriate adequate funds for purpose of compensation. So that should be an area of focus, and we must be ingenious on how we'll raise funds for purpose of compensation. Because you can never tell who will be hurt, who will be injured, who will lose life. So to budget precisely becomes a very, very big challenge. We had occasion to sit down with the PS and mention something about insurance fund for such kind of a thing. Finally, Honorable Speaker, we also suffer from human life conflict. The issue of hippos from Lake Victoria. Hardly every 3 or so months, we must bury somebody who has died or has drowned as a result of their canoes or boats being destroyed by hippos. Hippos cross over from the lake and destroy foodstuff and food crops